Fire Emblem was one of the first video games that got me to love tactics and strategy in video games. The anime and fantasy inspired style always really appealed to me, and that game always had an awesome balance of having enough tactics and kind of crunch the mechanics to keep it interesting, but not being so simple that it was boring to play. But this is a tabletop channel, not a video game channel, so we're not talking about Fire Emblem itself today. We're talking about Anna's Roundtable, which is a Fire Emblem-based fan project board game. So this game has kind of a weird history. It's created by BrotherMingGames, based out of China, and he does a lot of these kind of video game-inspired fan projects. The reason I said the history of this game is a little weird is it's not an official Fire Emblem game. Like I said, it's a fan project. And BrotherMingGames doesn't actually have access to the Fire Emblem IP. So I have no idea what the rules are behind that, to be honest. He uses all original or fan-made artwork. You can download the rules for free. He publicly says it's not an official Fire Emblem game, but you can still buy it for $100 and have it shipped to you. So make of that what you will. And before anyone gets mad at me for making a video on a game that might be in a weird legal gray area that he might not want found out about, a copy got sent to Kotaku and several other sites that do reviews like that. So this isn't supposed to be an underground game. He's trying to get it noticed. My little under 500 sub channel isn't the one blowing this up. He's trying to get it out there in the public. People are really defensive about that kind of stuff. Every time I make a video about something that's kind of underground that everybody knows about, someone says something. So just wanted to get that out there. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the gameplay itself. I've played a couple matches of this, and they were all 1v1. This is up to 4 players, and there also is a PvE version where you fight a boss that's controlled by the game. I think from everything I've read and everything I've looked at, the main draw of this game is the 1v1. That's the way it's kind of designed and meant to be. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Also, since that's the only one I played, that's the only one I can really speak to. Like the video game that inspired it, this is a tactical, turn-based, grid-style combat game, where you have characters you control, they have certain traits, and you move them around grid that has stuff on the terrain that can impact it, like rivers and mountains and forests. And you're either trying to kill enemy characters, or get key points on the terrain. So it has the same vibe as the Fire Emblem games if you played them, which is a good thing since I imagine that's what I was going for. The combat's fairly simple. Your characters have certain traits, and most of them are pretty simple for the stats. HP, attack, speed, armor. And then there's a weapon triangle. In the video games, this is based off type of weapon, like sword, spear, that kind of thing. But here it's a color triangle. So I think it was red, blue, and green, one having an advantage over another. And each character has a special ability. These are normally pretty straightforward, but it's nice to add a little more variety to the characters without just cramming a bunch of stats into them. Outside of the characters and the terrain, the other big mechanic is the economy system. You have coins and dragon veins. So coins are earned passively, or by making your characters not do anything else, they can earn coins. These will buy cards that are either reaction outplay type things, think instants and Magic the Gathering, or can be permanent equipment buffs to your characters. From the couple games I played, it looks like you only get a few of these cards per game, so they're helpful, but they're not the main focus. The characters are really what shine in this game. The Dragon Veins, on the other hand, are things that allow you to affect the terrain. You can either place terrain markers that affect the map layout, can either push characters around, or get characters on the field more quickly, and allow them to have haste, which means they get to move faster. Well, not faster as in more movement speed, just they get to move turn one. Like the coins, these are helpful and they can really make you win or lose a battle, but they're not the main focus. They only do a few things. So they're just a nice little side thing you can do to give you more choices within the game. The winner of the game is whoever has the most points at the end. You can get points for either holding key terrain or for killing enemy characters. Which, it's a fairly simple mechanic, and I don't really mind that, because in the video games, you were either trying to get to a key location or kill a boss most of the time. So this really does reflect that pretty well. Now that we've gone through the Cliff Note version of what the gameplay is like, let's look at what you get when you actually buy this game. So the biggest, most important thing here are there are 240 cards, I believe. And on these cards, I think each one is a unique piece of art, and over 100 artists contributed. So there's a pretty wide variety of art, which I think is really cool that many people were that into Fire Emblem to make art for this game. I thought the art was really fun to look at, and my friend who bought it is a huge Fire Emblem nerd, and he absolutely loved looking through it. I did read reviews about this game before I made this video though, and there were some people that really didn't like it. They thought some of the art was pretty bad, which that's all personal opinion. I'm sure I've had plenty of B-roll in the video up to this point, and I'll put some more up here. With 100 different artists, there's gonna be some you like, some you don't like, but that's all personal opinion, so kind of make that decision up for yourself. Besides the cards, there's 4 maps. Well, 2 maps, and they're double-sided, so 4 total. I don't know if this will be a problem with the replay value or not. I wouldn't think so, since the characters all interact with the map so differently. I would think you'd be able to play this a lot without running into issues for that. Besides this, there's the boss cards, which I haven't done anything with. They look interesting, but I haven't played that mode, so I can't really say much about it. And you have a bunch of little tokens and other doodads that you get with the game. They all look pretty neat. They're pretty standard for a board game. So the big question for this video, is this game fun and should you buy it? If you are a major Fire Emblem nerd, absolutely yes. Like I said earlier, my friend that is a way bigger Fire Emblem nerd than I am absolutely loved it. He thought it was amazing, and he's played basically every Fire Emblem. I mostly played the ones that were on the DS or the Game Boy Advance, so I haven't played the more recent ones, but I still thought it was a lot of fun. There were a lot of characters I recognized. So even not knowing every character, it was still a pretty fun game. And it captures a lot of the moments from Fire Emblem that you'll love, like trying to utilize the weapon triangle, having that annoying train you're trying to get through, some of the charm of the characters and the artwork. Doing stuff where you're trying to count out ranges so you can hit them but them not hit you. Just stuff like that. It really does feel like Fire Emblem, which is awesome. So for Fire Emblem fans, absolutely, you'll love it. But what about everyone else? If you took Fire Emblem out of this game, which for someone that's not a fan of the series, that's what it's gonna feel like. It's gonna feel like generic fantasy anime. Is it still worth buying? I don't know what rating system to use for this, but I would say it's still fun, but not something that for $100 I would tell everyone they have to go buy. If someone wants to buy it and they ask you to play it, totally worth it. You'll have fun with it. But I don't think you'll be as hyped without being a fan of the series. It's nothing groundbreaking. It loses some of the charm if you don't know the characters and don't understand some of these symbols in the game. Even having just not played some of the more modern games, there was some stuff I didn't understand in it. Like, I could figure it out, but it didn't mean as much to me. It is a fairly simple game, though. If you know the rules and you're teaching it to someone, you can probably teach them in 10 or 15 minutes. So if you're a super fan and you're worried that everyone else you're around isn't, I'd say don't worry about that. I think if you pick it up, you can teach someone to play it, and they'd still enjoy it enough that they'd be up for playing it with you. Not everyone there has absolutely loved the series. So I wanted to see what else other people had to say, so I went to Board Game Geek. They do a lot of review stuff. They gave it a 7.2 out of 10, and then they gave it a 3 out of 5 for its like difficulty score. I think they call it weight, which means it's a medium complexity game. If you're up in the air on buying it, it's $100, and the entire rule book is on the website, so you can go read through the rules, look at the pictures here, and figure out if you think it's something you want to play or not. Hopefully this helps you decide. Like I said, this is kind of a first impressions video. I haven't played it a ton yet. It is a relatively new game. So one thing I don't know is the replayability in the other modes, or what happens if you add more players. Mostly what I was talking about here was 1v1. If you found this useful, make sure to hit the like button, and thank you for watching.